Hi everybody, this is TJ with Netpicks.com and our inner circle. Earlier today I was going to post up a bunch of screenshots of the Spotlight Power Trader, and there were just so many examples that I thought it would be easier just to do a video. So we're going to look at a bunch of trades from today. Amazing volatility. This is the kind of session that you want to be involved with. And even though the markets were down hundreds of points, I think the Dow was off over 700 points, the trading was amazing. And if the price is moving, as day traders, we can thrive whether the markets go up or down. So I'm going to walk you through a variety of our tried and true trade plans. These are trade plans that we cover in the trade room. You'll get a good look at the Spotlight Power Trader. And you'll notice that with every single plan, every single example, that not much changes. It's pretty much the same approach across all these different dynamic markets and charts that we like to trade. So I'm going to start with some Forex. We're going to look at the Euro-Yen. This is a really nice trade plan. We've been using it for a long time. This uses a 6-pip momentum range bar. Okay, so with TradeStation, it's a momentum bar. With NinjaTrader, it's a range bar. What I like about a chart like this is that it kind of gets away from what most traders do with Forex. Most traders are using MT4 and trading time-based charts, 5-minute charts, 15-minute charts, whatever. I think that you can do a lot better using a dynamic chart like a range bar, which is really about price action. And that's what the Spotlight thrives on. Let's jump right in with the Euro-Yen. There are 3 sessions you can trade. You can trade the Asian session, which starts, at least for this trade plan, at 1800, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you could trade it all the way late into the evening. The European session starts at 2 a.m. New York time. So you could literally trade the Asian session up until that time. And usually you'll be finished sooner. And some of you may not want to trade that late, while others may want to. It's a long session that you have a lot of flexibility with. Okay, the Asian session could be very good with yen and Aussie pairs. Okay, so we'll look at the Euro-Yen. The European session is from 2 to 5 a.m. New York time, and then the U.S. session is from 8:30 to noon. Now, when I say those are the sessions for those time zones, that is how it relates to our trade plans, okay? So we try to keep things pretty universal. All right, so let's just look at what happened. Here we are. This is earlier today or yesterday even, depending on where you are in the world, but it is the Asian session, and there's a setup here, but it's too early. All right, so even though it was a good trade, as you can see, it came up and hit a perfect target. We can't count it because it's too soon. So we have to remain disciplined. The first trade comes right here, and it's at 20:23. That's 8:23 New York time. Gets short at 130.81. You can see your targets. You can see how much you're risking, where your stop is. It's all here for you. All right, with Forex, we're going to scale out a percentage of our position at each target. Typically, we have 4 targets, but we're only interested in targets that will be 10 pips or more. If it's smaller, then we will ignore that and take that part of the position off at the next target. Okay, and then we'll leave a final position off to trail in case we are lucky enough to catch one of those big home run moves, okay, which happens fairly often. All right, so look what happened with this one. This one triggers in, gets short, quickly moves down to target 1. That's 10 pips, so that's the minimum goal. All right. At that point, the stop moves down to take the risk off the trade, pushes lower, hits a perfect target 2 for 17 pips. Look how perfect that is before it starts moving back up. Meanwhile, our protective stop is pushing lower, protecting our position, locking in profit, while also giving the trade the room it needs to continue to develop. That's always a fine line. Spotlight does a great job of that. Okay, and then it pushes lower, and notice that it comes down and hits target 3. And again, look how perfect that target is before it starts to move higher. The Spotlight shines a spotlight on the highest percentage moves. It's not trying to catch every move. It's just trying to catch the move where we have a high likelihood of winning. Okay, and when it gets short, all the bars are red. Okay, when it gets long, all the bars are green. And when it's flat, the bars are gray. So it's a pleasure to use a strategy like this. So you can see the Asian session. First trade of the session, we hit our goals. Now the goals with our Forex day trading is to get at least a target of 10 pips or more and move to a break-even position with the rest of our trade. And that's our minimum goal. If we can do that, it'll be the last trade we take. We're more interested in quitting with a positive result a vast majority of the time, while controlling our drawdown with minimal and efficient trading. So notice that theme, pay attention to it, because we use it day in and day out with all our trade plans. And like this, we're able to grow our equity and then utilize some of the other powers of trading, like power of compounding, for example. So after we hit our goals, we call that the power of quitting. It empowers us to stop trading and to go have a life. That's why we trade in the first place. You can see it came up and stopped out, and that trade is over. Let's see what happened during the European session. Just fast forward. We're not interested in anything that happens in between. That's not the trade plan. Here we go. We have the first trade. Remember, it starts at 2 a.m. New York time. So this trade sets up at 2:47. It finally triggers in a few bars later. Notice that every single bar is 6 pips. This is a 6 pip range bar, right? So from high to low, every bar is 6 pips. So it makes it very dynamic. This is a chart that has worked well with this pair. So notice that it came up and it hit target 1 and target 2. Look how perfect target 2 was. You're going to notice a lot of perfect targets. That's because the Spotlight Power Trader borrows the trade profiling from the great Counterpunch Trader, which has an amazing reputation for accurate targets. And we took that part of the Counterpunch and built that into the Spotlight. So that's why you're going to see a lot of very accurate targets. In this case, just perfectly hitting it on the nail. And then it comes down and stops out, I believe, right here, and that trade is over. And again, the first trade of the European session, our goals are reached, power of quitting. Let's see what happened during the US session. A lot of great trades in between. Again, we're not interested. We don't have to trade more to make more money. We just let our accounts grow and then increase our position size and use the power of compounding. All right, so let's see. The first trade actually came here at 9:16 a.m. New York time. Gets long. There was a trade here. It almost got to target 1 and lost, but notice that the start time was an hour before our trade plan time. So again, we're not interested. We don't care. We increase our odds by keeping very strict to our trade plan, because then we can get measurable results and make sure that the odds are truly on our side with every trade decision that we make. And that's what it takes to succeed on an ongoing basis. So it comes off, it's still developing, but notice the stop is well placed down here, and then it comes up, hits its minimum goal. So we know that we're going to walk away a winner. The stop moves up, takes the risk off the trade, and notice it keeps enough distance so that trade still has the room it needs to continue to develop, and it continues to push higher and higher, going through all 4 targets. 10 pips, 16 pips, 22 pips, 28 pips, and then stops out right here. Can you take profit as it spikes higher? I mean, you're the trader. You can certainly take advantage of the gift from the trade gods, but a lot of times just being patient, you will actually hang in the trade for a much stronger move. So it's really up to you how you handle that final position, but we typically just follow the dots on the chart unless there's some sort of rule that we also have to pay attention to. All right, so that's a Euro Yen. Let's take a look at some more Forex. And then afterwards, we'll look at some of our favorite futures day trade charts from today. So now that I've explained a lot of things to you in great detail, I'm going to move quite a bit quicker here just so we can cover some ground. This is the Asian session with the pound Aussie, and the first trade didn't come until much later in the evening. This is 1 a.m. You can come all the way back and see there was just nothing. There was a nice move up, but Spotlight isn't trying to catch every move. It's looking for those special setups that put the odds on our side. Okay, we're going to let some things go. We just be patient, wait for our setup. It happens here, and you can see it comes down and gets that first target of 12 pips, comes down and hits a 19 pip target as well, and then stops out. And that's it. One trade, Asian session, goals reached. During the European session, we have to wait until this trade. It sets up right near the end of the European session at 452. It finally triggers in, and notice that it comes up. The first target's too small. It's only 9 pips, see 90 ticks, so we ignore it. We have to go to the second target. Grabs 15 pips, then 20 pips. Stop is moving up. Everything that I showed you comes up and hits a 26 pip target, and then it stops out. And that's the end of that trade. One trade during the European session before the stop time. Both these trades were late in the session, but it only took one trade to get to our goals. And then the bridge between the two sessions, some real great trades. We're looking at 8:30 as our start time. So here's 8:19. That one was too soon, which is unfortunate because it came down and hit all the targets. There's a technique we call getting in sync, where if it hasn't hit a target or stopped out yet, and then our start time hits, you can get in sync with the trade. So those that use that technique would have grabbed the trade on the way down, and then it hit. Look how perfect target 3 is. Again. Okay, so it would have been a winner, but I don't use that when I'm doing these demos because I try to keep things very simple. We're just going to wait for a fresh setup, and that happens here. And this trade ends up breaking even because you'll notice that little dot right there. When it hits that dot, that's when the stop pushes down and takes the risk off the trade. So that was a 17 pip target, but it just missed it. See how it barely missed it? But it did hit the break even. So that counts as a break even trade. We have not yet hit our goals. We have to take another trade. And there's a long trade here, and unfortunately that one is not going to work. And there you go. Some trades do lose. So that one lost. That was 24 pips. So we have to take another trade because this is still within our trade plan. And there's a short right here. And that one comes down. You can see that it hits. Target 1 is too small. It gets 14 pips to target 2, 20 pips to target 3. And again, a very perfect, near perfect target 4. That would have been good for 26 pips. And it missed by less than a pip. So anyone trading could take action and maybe take that part of the position off here at target 3. In this case, it came up and stopped out. And so this is actually a small losing session because this trade is not large enough to offset that blue trade losing. Keep in mind the goals of the strategy. We want to quit with a positive result a vast majority of the time. Do we want to quit 100% of the time positive? Of course we do, but that's not realistic and that's not trading. But the other part of the equation is controlling our drawdown with minimal and efficient trading. This was a very small losing session with only 3 trades. And there's other pairs we can look at. This is the Euro-US. We won't look at this during the Asian session, but here we are during the European session. The first trade of the day comes at 346, and look at how it just comes straight on down. 15 pips to target 2, 20 pips to target 3, and then it even gets to target 4. Notice the trailer stays in, perfectly placed. The trailer doesn't move until after the bar closes. Perfect target 4. That was good for 26 pips. And it even went further and further, and this is where the trailer really pays dividends. Look at that. Finally stopping out down here at 23.20. It got short at 23.75. That's a 55 pip runner right there. And then as one would expect, after a strong trending move, markets tend to consolidate, and it got kind of choppy in here, and our start time was at 8:30. This trade is at 8:24, too early. This one comes right at 8:50, and notice how it got short, came down and hit some perfect targets, going through all 4 targets. We're only interested in the ones greater than 10 pips, so target 3 was 12 pips, target 4 16 pips, and then it stopped out with a partial profit with the rest of its position. Again, a single trade, goals met, power of quitting. All right, this video has gotten a little bit longer than I thought it would, mainly because I wanted to explain things in some great detail. So I'm going to end this Forex walkthrough, and I will do a part 2. So look for part 2, and that'll focus on some of our futures trading today. Thanks for joining me, everybody. If you like this video, please give us a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to Netpicks Trading, our channel on YouTube, so you don't miss out on any subsequent videos. And if you'd like to learn more about the Spotlight Power Trader, send us an email to innercircle@netpicks.com. And I hope to see you on the next video.